Hello and welcome to the ICO Show. This is the premiere edition. I'm David Siegel. Today is Tuesday, October 24th, and I'm broadcasting from beautiful Neuchâtel. I'm pre-recording this show because last week we tried to do it live and it was a total train wreck. A couple words about me. I'm the world's first web designer and a serial entrepreneur from the United States, now living in London. Last year I was a candidate to be the next dean of Stanford Business School. This year, I'm disrupting and accelerating the world economy with blockchain technology and a large team of volunteers that you can join. The purpose of the show is to explore and unlock the value of the new token economy. The show is both for investors and for people working on ICOs. It's not promotional. I'm not here to promote ICOs or make anybody famous. I want to unlock the value of ICOs and explore the issues and try to get to the crux and the important points of a particular project. For investors, always remember that exposure is more important than risk. Risk is not so bad, it's the exposure that kills you. So each week, I'll have 2 projects on the show selected by our team of brave volunteers. I'll give each project about 5 minutes to give their elevator pitch, and then we'll really try to dive in and expose the risks and discover the value in each project. Now remember, this show does not present investment advice. I don't own any of the tokens presented by the projects on this show. Always remember that overconfidence can and does kill investors every day. All right, I'd like to welcome my first guest, Mike DeShazer from Proof Suite. And you're talking to us from South Korea, is that right?
Yes, we're here in Seoul, South Korea.
Very cool. What brings you there? How did that happen?
Well, Seoul has the fastest internet in the world, a thriving blockchain community, and the best public transportation matched with some of the best public services in the world. You match that with the amazing tech industry, and you have a culmination of, I think, of what brought me and my co-founders all together here in Korea.
Okay, so tell us about the project.
So Proof is a project that currently has about 10 tools that empower blockchain entrepreneurs to build new products. So we have everything from APIs that game developers use to incorporate blockchain into their games and other mobile apps. We also have the Proof dashboard where companies and individuals create their own cryptocurrencies and trade them in a marketplace in a very simple, easy to use fashion. They can also use the dashboard to exchange Bitcoin for Ethereum, Ethereum for Bitcoin, Cash, etc. And we additionally have ways for people to allow users on their websites to accept their tokens that they create on the dashboard. And all of these products, including the mobile app, the legal agreement generator for tokenized assets, as well as the ICO/token cell creator, were created based on recommendations that we got from users. And so we've kind of covered almost, I'd say, somewhat the full spectrum of business needs from a blockchain entrepreneur's perspective. And we plan to enhance those products. And how we're doing that is through a new product that we have coming out that is a culmination of all things that we've learned in the last year and a half that we've been working with blockchain entrepreneurs and other businesses who want to incorporate blockchain. And that is a decentralized desktop application, which is completely peer-to-peer and allows people to not only create tokens, but trade them in a completely self-regulating environment. And we really see that as the future of finance. And what we basically do is we build software that decentralizes the entire banking process, from underwriting to insurance to risk analysis and more.
Wow, who needs anything else? It's the whole world is right there. Okay, so give us a good example.
We hope that our.
So tell us what you've currently got and what people are currently doing with it. I mean, give a specific example if you can.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, give me a specific example of what people are currently doing with the system. Can you hear me?
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you. It seems like a pretty big lag, but we can cut it, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So today, people are using our system primarily to create tokenized assets. So you have a house, or you have a company, or you have a project or intellectual property, and you want to break it into small pieces and allow people to buy a easily authenticated token or piece of that particular project or asset. And that's what people use us for mostly today. And we have the mobile app as well as the desktop app, as well as the web application that people can use for that.
And what's an example of somebody actually using the system?
Sure. So we have a few hundred ICOs that are launching on our platform. We have one GeoCoin, other coins. We have a trash coin I just heard of that's on the platform for changing the trash industry. We have nonprofits who are creating coins for donations, and all kinds of different, mostly small businesses that cannot don't have access to Silicon Valley or London blockchain developers who are pretty scarce, who want to be able to participate in the tokenized cryptocurrency community. And additionally, a lot of users are using our tools in order to learn how to program smart contracts by using our web-based IDE. So we have schools who leverage our web IDE and build smart contracts. And I think what is one of the easiest ways to learn how to build and work on smart contracts in our web environment.
And how much are people raising through these ICOs, and where does the audience, how do they get who do they get their money from?
Well, we usually stay out of that. So I can only tell you from kind of references that we get from people that have publicized it. Usually the average that people raise on our platform, when they do a successful token raise for a local community project, is anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 to $20,000. So a lot of the big projects like Bancor or 10X, they have development teams and big marketing budgets. Ours is for more of the, now, of course, big projects can use it, but one of the big pieces that we put on the front of our platform for the last year and a half, and also why it's free, is because we're in beta. And we're excited that we can actually exit beta in February of 2018 and hope to be able to empower a lot all spectrums, from people starting out in the beginning to people who need their hands held, like large corporations or other big entities or startups who want to have full flexibility and be able to customize as well as get amazing customer support.
Now, you say tokenizing assets. Some of these then are securities, I guess.
Well, so people use our platform. So the first big piece there is that we currently have a token cell, and our token is definitely not a security. However, people can create securities on the platform. And this is another reason why we're creating a completely decentralized platform, because we don't want to host what could be an illegal activity or allow people to do that on our servers. So in order to prevent that from happening, or creating, making it so that we don't have any liability just for innovating in the space, we're creating a decentralized open source solution that can be run anywhere by anyone to create any kind of asset. And then also the assurance market protocol, which allows people to stake money through the use of money onto different assets, and also ensure them to create a marketplace that just demonstrates risk so that people can determine what is a good token purchase, whether it's a security or a utility token.
So right now it's not open source, or some of it is, or what?
Oh, yeah. So we have a lot of our tools are currently open source. Our marketplace is currently, like, for example, we have an exchange that does Ethereum to US dollars. But what we have to do, and that requires a lot of proprietary activity. And what we plan to do is introduce crypto fiat, which is an Ethereum ERC20 token pegged to the dollar and to the euro, to allow people to, without having to trust us to hold money or trust anyone else to hold money. And that's really the reason why we have to be centralized at the moment, is because we hold dollar credits and euro credits that are on the blockchain, excuse me. These things are on the blockchain. However, the big issue is that we want not to be like Tether. We want it to be trustless, and we hope to introduce that.
So in that scenario, where are the actual dollars? Yes,
that's a great question. What we're doing is we create a crypto buffer. So a few $1 million go into the buffer initially, and that buffer, it basically protects against price volatility. So for example, if you send Ethereum into the crypto fiat contract, every so often the price of Ethereum, let's say, drops. And when it drops, when you want to reclaim your credits, you'll get that amount of Ethereum. But if the price goes up, it means that you'll get less Ethereum, but it'll always be pegged to the exact US dollar. So it's a buffer of Ethereum that protects against volatility, and the transaction fees of the 0.5% to 1% that you pay to get the crypto fiat is used to enhance the buffer, as well as some of the activity on the insurance markets as well. So but the buffer grows with activity. Yes.
But somewhere, someone is holding actual dollars somehow, in like I'm imagining in a bank account.
Not at all. Not at all. So the buffer basically holds a bunch of Ethereum, and when you send funds into the smart contract, there, bingo, yes.
I see.
And so it's literally
You're using Ether to mimic dollars by making sure you peg the value, and you just have to support that by being a market maker.
Well, we're not the market maker, but the activity of people purchasing it just adds to the buffer, and the smart contract essentially acts as the market maker, yes.
But there could be a dramatic price drop and a liquidity problem.
Absolutely. And that's why the buffer grows and grows over a period of time. We think that the price of Ethereum is highly undervalued at the moment, and so we're not too worried about a major price drop. But even if it drops in half, it'll take a little bit of time to grow the adoption. And what we also like to talk about is the fact that most banks are only capitalized with 8% of everyone's money. So if everyone went to the bank tomorrow and tried to pull out all their money, they wouldn't have theirs either. And people seem pretty comfortable with the bank. So we think this will be a similar scenario, especially for the simple fact that you're not actually trusting people, but you have a completely decentralized way of doing it. And you can always move your funds out at any time. That's also a really big difference.
Right, you could move your Ether out.
Bingo.
Right, okay. And you don't need a money trading license because it's just software.
It's just software. And yeah, that's the big one. It's software running on the blockchain. So once it's deployed and the funds are there, proof token holders, of course, get rewards for the commissions for people purchasing it, because it's acting as a utility to the blockchain community to make it so that decentralized exchanges can have dollars and euros. And we think that's really going to grow the adoption of larger hedge funds and other institutional investors onto the blockchain as the crypto fiat pool gets larger, because they'll have a way of trading that is completely detached from government intervention.
Sure. So, okay, tell us now about your new desktop app that you mentioned.
Yeah, so the desktop app it's the AMP, and what it does is it ties you into all the decentralized markets out there. So you have Ether Delta, you have Kyber, you have others that are emerging. For example, Bitfinex is putting out a decentralized, I think it's Ffinex, and they're essentially putting out a decentralized exchange. And so it'll link into all these decentralized exchanges and liquidity pools, which currently have tens of millions to $100 million a day on them, and allow you to trade different tokenized assets. Additionally, it'll connect into the proof decentralized exchange and smart contracts, which allow you to see and trade based on real world assets. So tokenized property, et cetera, tokenized intellectual property, things that are based off of the more traditional asset classes. And when people trade with these, they'll be able to participate in the insurance market, insure assets, stake risk by enter the prediction market, and also purchase tokens. And it'll work as a self-regulatory environment. The great part is it's peer-to-peer, so it can't be censored by countries like China. which we think is a very good thing, and or any country, and we're really excited about that. It's kind of like the BitTorrent effect for finance.
It's a lot, Mike.
Yeah, we're really excited. It actually simplifies a lot of the things that we're doing. We're actually managing a lot now, and it actually is going to make a lot of the things that we do a lot easier to manage. So we're really excited about that.
And a lot of these things you're mentioning actually are securities, tokenizing real estate and so forth. You don't feel like you have to be in compliance with any local laws, or you're just saying, hey, tokenize your whatever you want, but make sure you are compliant with whatever your local laws are?
Well, we don't think we're in a position to say anything. That's really what our stance is. Once the AMP launches, it's up to the people to kind of govern it themselves. So, for example, no one's really going to buy a token in something that's not insured, and no one's going to insure something that is not sound in a regulatory sense. Or maybe they will, but that would be ridiculous unless you really knew the people who own the asset, and then people insure things. So you can have so very interesting things will happen. But the great part about it is what the regulators really care about is protecting retail investors and creating a safe environment. And we think that this solution is actually enhancing that by creating real world feedback, people being able to stake risk. So it's decentralizing the regulatory process and creating an incentive for everyday ordinary people to actually benefit from contributing, which is much better than what we have right now with a small group of regulators who can only really go after big fish. And you have a lot of things that are happening lower on the surface that aren't being paid attention to. Additionally, you have penalties and things maybe that are politically driven versus actually going back to that thing we just talked about, which is ensuring a safe regulatory environment and fair practice, which we think this will do a better job. So we think there's going to be a paradigm shift in how we regulate and how we rate securities and tokens, and that's what we're going to see, I think, from the AMP, and we're really excited about being a part of that. But the best part, like as you mentioned, is the fact that we're releasing the software. It's going to be it's completely out of our hands at that point, and that's the way we want it. And that's what blockchain was always meant to do. And we think this is just another step in blockchain reaching its full potential.
Right. So rather than regulated insurance products, you'll let people exchange risk P2P through escrow, staking, betting markets, and these kinds of things.
Exactly. Yes.
And then you've got an Oracle, or you're using Oracle Eyes?
Yeah, so we plan to use ZeroX, which provides a really great Oracle system. I think one of the best in the world. And that project is taking on. We're really integrating from a lot of these really great projects that actually recently had token sales and are changing the face of think about receiving data. So we'll definitely be integrating with the ZeroX technology for that.
Okay, and let's talk about your token. What's it called, and what does the token do?
It's the proof token. The symbol is PRFT, and what it basically does is simple. Contributors who contribute to it, half the funds that are contributed will be used to seed the original crypto fiat, so the crypto euro and the crypto USD. So okay. That's the primary function of that. The rest is obviously to fund future development and the open source community, to create bounties, to increase the security, as well as the speed and the safety of the overall blockchain space, as well as the AMP. Now, when it comes to crypto fiat, as a reward for basically seeding the original buffer, everyone who has a proof token, and the proof tokens are transferable, anyone who has the proof token receives proportional reward to each purchase from the purchases that happen within the smart contract. Additionally, the crypto fiat is what makes a lot of the whole market work. And so because for helping the whole market work, anyone who holds a proof token actually gets rewards, proportional rewards for good resolutions of events that happen in tokenized in tokenized assets and in the insurance markets. So when a good event occurs, there are rewards that are granted to proof holders. And it also has a voting stake for basically decisions that are made within proof to be able to help contribute to creating, a staked good direction for the project as we expand into working with larger companies to get different tokenized rewards points or other potential securities onto the blockchain and onto the AMP.
What is you keep saying the AMP? What's the AMP?
It's the Assurance Market Protocol, and it's essentially just the handshake and the ecosystem of the insurance market, the risk market matched with the staked risk market matched with the tokenized asset market, and basically the dance between them to create an ungameable system that allows people to self-regulate in a safe trading environment.
Now, is this whole system open source? So when I buy a token, I'm buying something that nobody has equity in?
Yeah, the whole thing's open source. We're not leaving anything. The desktop application is open source. The smart contracts are obviously open source. It's all available out in the public. Proof doesn't control anything. The only thing in the beginning that we will be playing an active role in will be customer support. And that's as we phase that out into a completely decentralized customer support platform, which we're working with other partners on.
Okay, great. So your business model is to hold back some percentage of tokens.
Bingo. So we benefit from the success of the decentralized system, and so do the proof token holders.
Right. So what percentage? What's the basic deal? How many? What's the structure of your offering?
Okay, great question. So Proof keeps half of the Proof tokens, and then half are offered for sale. So about 1 million tokens are kept by Proof, and 1 million are being issued to the crowd. And that's into perpetuity. All the rewards for the success of the market are granted to Proof token holders. And Proof has made an agreement. We're not going to sell any of our tokens. We basically keep all of our tokens in order to receive, and we live off of the rewards that are gained from the utilization of the market. And how we're going to help grow that utilization of the market is by turning around and ramping up a lot of the user adoption areas. So we're really happy. We're going to be working across the world with different organizations that are integrating current Proof technologies to get larger institutions to tokenize assets and put them on. And with hedge funds such as TOS, who are going to be trading on our systems and also adding different areas. And not to mention that already all the other cryptocurrencies will automatically be available. So all that liquidity will be there. But that's what our focus will be. Will be on getting optimizing the software, continuing to optimize, and also the overall. Because the other piece is the Ethereum network itself needs to scale, and this is going to be one of the big solutions that we think is going to push Ethereum past its current kind of limited use cases around just simple transactions and token purchases to a new level of mass adoption and high frequency trade. And we plan to work very closely with academic institutions as well as Ethereum developers, as well as focus on the education system around how people learn about smart contracts to work on getting us all to the Ethereum fork, or the phase of Serenity, where we're processing thousands and thousands of transactions per second.
It's pretty ambitious. I only have 1 minute. Just tell me again about the 50% of tokens, because it's not clear what happens to your 50% of tokens.
So they're locked, and we receive only the rewards from those tokens. So to help fund the business operation, and so that our incentives are aligned with all of token holders as well as the success of the AMP.
So they're locked forever. You're just receiving the fee.
They're locked forever. But Proof receives
the fees.
The rewards,
sure,
yes.
Sure, I understand. Okay. Mike, thank you very much. It's a very ambitious project. I'd actually like to kind of check in with you in 6 months, and we'll see how it's going. It's really exciting. Congratulations, and we look forward to your ICO. When is it?
Our token sale begins on November 1st at 10 p.m. Korea time. I think that's 1 p.m. Something like that, UK time.
All right. Thanks a lot to Mike DeShazer and the Proof Suite. I'm pleased to have Norm and Dimitri here from DigitPulse. I appreciate you guys. Where are you guys right now calling from?
We're calling from Latvia.
You're in Latvia?
Yep.
Fantastic. So is that Riga?
Exactly.
You're in Riga. Fantastic. Okay, great. And we're going to give you 5 minutes to give us an overview of your project, and then we'll have an overall discussion. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. And we are from DigitPulse. Our service is a crypto asset inheritance service.
Inheritance. Okay.
Yeah. What we do is we provide our own blockchain where we store and encrypt information. And afterwards, we make it inheritable with the help of smart contracts. How this works is that the user subscribes to our service, creates his own smart vault where he can store any kind of information that he would like to. And afterwards, he specifies the inheritors. Note, the inheritor can be also the person who created the vault. So this service has two use cases. One is pass on assets in case something bad happens to the person. And second of all, if the person loses, let's say, his computer or wherever the access to his current existing wallet is, this serves as a backup service.
Right.
One thing to add is that the inheritor doesn't have to know in advance that he's being selected as the inheritor of the vault, because the encryption process is being done in the following way: that the key which points to all the files on our blockchain is encrypted via unique salt generated by answering to the control questions when the vault is being created. Basically, in human words.
Whoever can answer the questions gets the...
Yes, that's correct.
I understand. Okay.
Exactly. Currently, there are two ways to use our service. The first one is to use it anonymously. By this, we mean that the minimum necessary requirement is to input your public wallet address and specify the inheritor's email. And this way, the service, the smart contract, looks for outgoing wallet transactions. This is how the smart contract knows if there has been an activity from the user. The second way to use the service is the non-anonymous way, when you add additional API integrations from services that the user currently uses. They can be social media profiles, email integrations, or any other service that has an API available. So the smart contract has a better way to understand the activity of the user online.
Basically, we route that through our service and update the asset release timestamp on the smart contract.
Are you saying then that you're watching the wallet and you're watching the social activity, because if there's no activity for some period of time, then maybe you need to somehow say, are you still there?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the point, yes.
So the inactivity period itself can be set up by the user. So he chooses whether the activity should be monitored every week, every month, every year.
Right.
And that's where our tokens come in.
The idea behind the tokens is every asset release timestamp on the smart contract, when we prolong the duration of the smart contract, consumes gas since it's on the Ethereum blockchain. So as the way how to deal with this cost, the tokens are implemented, which also provide which also reward the storage providers for supporting the blockchain.
The token pays for transactions and storage.
Yes.
And you actually have your own blockchain as opposed to using Ethereum? And it's like a permission private blockchain, so you can just get rid of the fees. Is that it?
It's basically the blockchain we're currently using for file storage is, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We took the existing solution created by Storage, Storj, and we added the necessary functionality for our product on top of that. So, yeah.
So you're using their blockchain, Storj.
We're using their source, which we adjust for our purposes.
Uh-huh. But does that mean you have miners who are in it for the money, or you have just your own?
We have, I don't know whether that's the right term to call them miners, but they provide storage space on their hard drives. Basically, they allocate space, and that's used.
That's when they also get rewarded in our tokens.
I see. So your tokens play the role of the storage token.
I guess so.
Right?
It's also the utility token to pay for the service. So it's multi-purpose token.
I understand. So one way to say it is you've forked the storage chain, and then you're replacing it with your token, and your token does other things than storage.
One way to put that, yes, as well.
But does that means though then it's then run by all the people who are offering the storage. So you've got to round them up and tell them why this is so great.
No. In that case, I should maybe elaborate a bit. Basically, we're creating our own. We took their source, we set it up and adjusted it, created our own bridge, which handles our basically the files which are uploaded through the DigitPulse and spread it across all our own blockchain, because it would be we would have to put a lot of faith in the continuity of other projects for our own future.
Basically, we took the code behind it, took it for ourselves, but we add another layer on top of it, which is the passing on of the stored information.
Of course. I understand. Right. But the people who are running your blockchain are the people who are offering storage space.
Storage space,
yes, correct.
But you have to recruit those people to want to be your nodes, right? So how do you get them to want that? Are you you're offering them more money than storage, basically, or?
The idea is that we have the tokens. The token supply serves. There is a fixed amount of percentage of tokens which is stored in a smart contract. Mm-hmm. The idea behind the token circulation is that if there hasn't been any activity regarding the creation of smart vaults, the storage providers are being rewarded nonetheless. So it's basically, it supports itself even if no tokens are coming in.
There's a pre-allocated amount of tokens to serve when there is no
Right, I see. So it makes sense for them to be your miners.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Okay, cool. So tell me about how you're going to reach all your customers and, get market traction. How's that going, or what's the...
Mm-hmm. Well, currently there are multiple ways that we are dealing with marketing right now. One of them is meeting people in live. That is through conferences. We have attended a couple so far.
We met last week in London. Yeah, I saw your. That's right.
In addition to that, we also have multiple interviews, like the one we're having right now, and also we had one yesterday with other YouTube influencers. Besides interviews, we have also partnered up with a PR agency. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that name or...
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, we have partnered up with a famous PR agency that's based in London.
Sure. That's our friend Tina. We know her.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Shout out to Tina. Thank her a lot for... So they are handling our social presence in news-related sites. like tech sites, crypto websites, etc., etc.
But from a market perspective, guys, I mean, who are these buyers that you think will be right for buying your, you know, your service? Because you've got to, who are your early adopters, and how are you going to get them?
So basically, there have been already multiple people that have come up to us in person and said, "Hey guys, I want to be your first user." To categorize them, it would be, they are usually people above 35 years of age, but below the age of 50, who are tech savvy, who do understand the crypto world. And usually a big sign is that they have children to whom they wish to pass their assets on. So it might not quite relate to newer people, but younger people, but to people with children, it does relate a lot.
Now, how are the children managing their private keys? They have treasure wallets, or what is it?
Well, they hand them out in kindergarten. Well,
No.
No. No, they don't. What?
No, of course they don't. The thing is that this service currently is aimed to be passed on to their partners or spouses.
Yeah.
The idea that when the children grow up, they will have crypto in place that they can deal with. And DigitPulse, in this case, helps the people who are not familiar with the crypto world to deal with everything that's crypto related. We sort of take them by the hand, guide them through the process.
Right. Right. So you work with the spouses to make sure they are all set up. Right. Do you do any intermediary services? Like you say, well, we'll help you in case you lose your private key? No, that's up to them, right?
Exactly.
Because we don't have access to the files.
Yeah, you just want to coach them to make sure they understand what their responsibility is.
Pretty much, yes.
Right.
Also, another thing to point out is that it does not limit only, the file storage doesn't limit only to the wallets. It can be any memorabilia you would like to pass on as well, or paperwork, digitized paperwork, or even kids' movies or kids' pictures. Like, it's everything can be passed on, so it's not only crypto aspect of the product.
Is there a written will that goes along with this, or everything is just tokenized allocation of assets?
There is no written will that goes along with it. The thing is that we as a service, because the data is encrypted, DigitPulse does not have any access to it. We ourselves simply provide the ability to store them and pass them.
Right, I understand. Right, so your token and your system is pretty similar to all the storage, made safe, all these guys. Your basic business model is not too different, right? What percentage of tokens are you selling in your ICO, and when is your ICO?
Our ICO is currently live. It started on the 1st of October, and it's going to end on the 31st of October.
No.
We are allocating 62% of the overall tokens to the investors. We're making them available for sale.
So you'll have 38%, and what's the plan for that?
62% are allocated for sale. 25% are stored in the smart contract for
rewards. Yes.
And we ourselves, the development team, has only 10%.
And also 3% are allocated to bounties.
For pro, you're already paying them for the marketing program right now. Yeah. Yeah. So you'll have 10%.
Yep.
And is it all open source?
The part which will be a smart contract and blockchain, that will be open source. The part which will be used as a web service to deal with the interactions with the smart contract, that won't be. Because there will most likely be some sensitive data as well featuring there.
Can you explain that difference, please? That's interesting.
Basically, the service, as mentioned before, consists of anonymous part and the API integration part.
Okay.
So the web-based API integration part with all the login mechanisms and the basically the whole app which runs for the
right. There's a web app that talks to the service.
That won't be made public. That won't be open source.
Is there some profit model to that? No, that's just that's facilitating.
Yes, at this point, yes. It's
or maybe you run ads or something. Is that what you're thinking, or something that why?
At this point, no ads, no additional profit is intended from the web-based API.
Yeah. Right. And so, for example, would you put that into a foundation or something so that it can never be bought by, Bill Gates or somebody, so that you ensure people that it's the open source part is public, and that the private source part, the closed source part, should not ever be bought, right?
Basically, the closed source part, let's put it other ways. The open source part will give the possibilities for anyone to set up the same service as we do. Basically, that's the idea. There will be this possibility. The only part which is the DigitPulse, like added value, which we keep non-public, is the API integration part, which is added value which you add to this particular token and blockchain. So
it just prevents other people from ripping off the entire system and forking the whole thing.
Yes.
But it's not it's not designed to make any extra profit.
Oh.
Right. Okay. It makes sense. What would make sense to me, though, is that the company is a foundation, because Bill Gates can't buy a foundation, but Bill Gates can buy a company. Right? I mean, you're not intending to sell the stock of the company that owns the closed source part, are you?
No.
Your business model is based on the token value. Right?
Exactly.
So then it makes sense to me, and you could do it easily in Latvia or Estonia, to set up a foundation and put all the assets of your closed source into a foundation. So then it's not private, and it can't be, you're assuring people that you have no other profit motive on those assets. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
makes sense.
It makes total sense.
It's a bit of a pain in the butt, but I think in Estonia or Latvia, I don't think it's going to be that hard to do.
Okay.
I would think so. That's something to think about. Yeah. So I'm kind of interested in how you're going to get over the hump with, or get to the critical mass of customers, because selling this kind of product, and there are many products like this, where it's not front and center, it's for some eventual, it's like insurance, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I'm going to have me some insurance today. I can't wait to set up passing on my digital assets. I'm so excited, right? So how are you going to get that critical mass of people to be excited enough and to tell their friends and to get this whole thing rolling?
So we have layered the potential customers in two segments. The first segment, as we call our, let's call them diehard crypto fans. Those are people who are familiar with the crypto world, understand how the wallets work. They usually store them on their own PCs or cold storage, wherever. So this is the current token sale is meant for those people. And the current token. Afterwards, down our roadmap is to go and try to partner with services who have the second tier of customers who do not own the wallets themselves, but use them with third-party services, such as exchanges or online wallet.
So you're looking for partners.
Yeah, that's after this current product phase has been done and developed. That's down our roadmap. In addition to reaching out to other customers, we have already received messages from lawyers who deal with managing client assets. Like these could be high-end customers, and some of them have heard about crypto assets, and their portfolio managers have advised them to put at least 10% of the investments into the crypto world, because it's a good investment.
That's me too. That's exactly what I advise people. 10%. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that we also plan to team up or partner or share our idea with these kind of lawyers or advisors, and there is a need for the service to these high-end customers. So that's another.
So you guys just want 10% of the morbidity market. So what also you could team up with the software companies that are doing cloud-based wills, and there's a lot of that already, right? Will maker, blah blah. So have you talked to those guys about?
Haven't spoken to them yet, because our current focus is on the first tier of customers running the crypto. But afterwards, I have to tell you a brief history about how we started out. Our idea was, as a startup, that we wanted to ensure that the quote-unquote real-world assets, such as your emails or social media accounts, whatever, still get passed on to other people. So then we ventured into the crypto world. Now we want to finish this project and then head back in the original direction that we had.
For your social media assets?
Yeah, not explicitly social media, but any other goods that are stored online that are not crypto related.
And you would like to use your token and service to wrap that up?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We're planning on creating also SDKs and partnering with the wallet providers as well, offering the one-click solution to, like, we're working on the mechanics and technical stuff, but one-click solution to store also those iPhone-based wallets on DigitPulse as well.
I wonder if I know any wallet providers. Let me think.
Well, if you do know, drop us a line, please.
Well, next time you're in London, we'll have you into the Pillar offices and talk about one-click everything. Okay, guys, how your ICO ends on the 31st. How much have you raised so far?
The current number is 30,320 Ethereum.
3,300, yeah.
3,300 Ethereum. And
so that's about $100,000 or something? Am I getting that right?
$630,000.
It's about $1 million?
Yeah. It's
close to $1 million. Right. That's right.
So, just so people know, for now, we see that this is enough for us for a year, for a runway.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, a lot of ICOs, when they set up their hard cap or whatever, they tell like, hey, we don't have a hard cap, or the hard cap is, I don't know, 50 million, 30 million, whatever.
Right.
We still use the approach as a startup, because we do not want all the funds in the world. We know that we want a fixed amount of number. The initial hard cap is 10 million, and that will provide us for 5 years of a runway. Yeah. But we still now, with the current funds that we have, are able to deliver the project. And the only thing is that the company itself has a 1 year's runway to complete it. But to start generating revenue. But a huge disclaimer, we already have our alpha in place, and we have delivered that in parallel with our token sale. So we don't sit with our hands in our laps and wait for the token sale.
Great.
We're already working on the product itself.
You know, I keep saying a token sale is a means to an end.
Correct.
Right? You don't want to be in the token sale business, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Your team is in Latvia?
Some of it is. We ourselves, are in Latvia. Our blockchain developer is based in Belgium.
Ah.
And of course, the Tina, the lady from famous PR agency, is in London. So
sure. Your employees, are they going to be that you're going to hire a few more people? Or are they going to be in Latvia or?
Most likely, at least I tend to think so, because it's easier to operate when everyone's close nearby.
In the same room.
There might be some slight exceptions regarding other markets in different continents. Maybe we'll have a couple of people based there just to help with the things, but otherwise,
Sure, great. All right, you guys, I really appreciate it. It's DigitPulse. That's digitpulse.what? .io, of course. Got to pay $50 for that domain name. I really appreciate your coming on, and we're gonna keep our eyes on you, and we'll see you next time you're in London.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care.
To wrap things up, I don't think we're in a bubble. A lot of people talk about bubbles, and I think most bubbles are not bubbles. I think we're creating a new world here, a new economy, and it will be very real. Although I think the token economy we eventually have over the next 10 or 20 years will be quite different from the one we're creating today. I'd like to thank our volunteers, our producer Ash, and all the people who make the show happen. There's Aaron, Andy, Tony, and Will are putting in many hours each week to make this show better and better each week. They filter the submissions, man the social media accounts, and put the program and schedule together, liaise with the various projects, and much more. It's a volunteer effort, and you're welcome to join us. Contact us at theicoshow@gmail.com. We're also building an online community, and we will need organizers for that. So please contact us if you're interested in helping with the community. I'd like to thank our two sponsors, the Pillar Project, building the next generation wallets that will become your digital assistant. Join our mailing list at pillarproject.io, and we're hiring back-end and front-end engineers. At Pillar, we build wallets. That's all we do. And by 2030, a community of blockchain innovators dedicated to building the world of the 21st century. I'll be talking more about 2030, upcoming ICO, in a future show. If you have any comments or suggestions, I'll be happy to read and answer questions on the show. Send to theicoshow@gmail.com. Don't forget, finally, this is not investment advice. Before you make any investments of any kind, please consult a qualified statistician. Your investment advisor doesn't know anything about investing. Stay safe out there. I'm David Siegel, and I'll see you at the next ICO show.